Hey everyone, it's Kelsey, Sarah's mom. I'm making this video with Sarah's permission to share with you what's been going on with us over the last couple of years, and to also share with you the incredible update that we have, and we're hoping that you may also benefit from some of the things that we have recently been doing. First of all, I'm going to give you the rundown of what she has been diagnosed with over the past 3 years. Digestive issues, anxiety, insomnia, ADHD, dysphagia, sensory processing disorder, dyspraxia, visual processing disorder, auditory processing disorder, and chronic fatigue syndrome. She also had some cognitive issues like low processing speed and memory issues. She also had poor health overall and often had headaches, nausea, dizziness, and was deficient in B12 and iron. Sarah grew up as a very normal kid. She was very neurotypical. There was really no reason for us to think that she would have any problems as she grew. She did have some anxiety as a young kid. She was very picky with food. She also didn't really sleep that great. But for the most part, it wasn't too bad. Looking back, I can also recognize that there probably were sensory issues, in the younger years, but nothing that concerned us at the time. And she seemed like most other kids that, had some quirky things and, no real reason to be concerned. When she got to grade 5, the teacher suggested that she might have ADHD. So we took her in to get her assessed, and sure enough, she scored moderate to high for ADHD. Soon after, though, by December of that year, she announced that she was having difficulty swallowing. We sought out the help from an amazing occupational therapist who worked with her extensively. By the time we found the occupational therapist in February, Sarah had almost entirely lost the ability to swallow. She was really only consuming yogurts, ice cream, pudding. She had to do intensive food therapy to learn how to swallow food again. It was a bit of a nightmare. She missed a lot of school towards the end of the year because we had to have her doing therapy every 2 hours. As we progressed through the therapy, we started to uncover other difficulties she was having. She couldn't catch a ball. She was not really good riding a bike. There was a lot of things that she never really, skills that most kids had acquired that Sarah really struggled with. That's when we first got the diagnosis for sensory processing disorder. In the summer, going into grade 6, we got a psych ed evaluation done. We went into grade 6 feeling like we understood what Sarah's needs were. She did really well at the beginning of the year. She was there all the time. She was still having more good days than bad days. By the end of grade 6, she was really struggling to be in class. She was tired all the time. She still had severe insomnia. I took this picture to show Sarah's teacher exactly what was going on at home on the days when she was unable to be in school. At this point, she had been awake for 2 hours and was still not able to cope with being in the world. And she is not able to open her eyes or communicate with me. And this was how she was starting to spend more and more of her time. We spent the summer getting her tested for a few things because we were heading to a new school and we knew we needed the paperwork. So we had her vision tested, and she was diagnosed with visual processing disorder. We also got her tested for auditory processing disorder, and this was a real shocker for us. We knew she had difficulty hearing. We knew she was constantly saying, "What? Wait, what?" And she missed a lot. We knew that. But when they tested her for auditory processing disorder, and to be clear, auditory processing disorder means that your hearing is fine. She had better than average hearing, but what it means is that when the audio reaches your brain scrambles it. So you can't necessarily process what people are saying to you. The test revealed she was only processing 45% in one ear and 65% in the other. So she was missing a lot of information, especially in classrooms. So she was fitted for assisted hearing devices, and she proudly wore them. She got them in hot pink, which is so Sarah. Also during that time period, that summer, she really started to struggle with her legs. As a result, we spent that summer doing a lot of therapy to work on Sarah's coordination and gross motor skills. When we started, I have to tell you, it was very alarming to see how far she had declined. In this video, the exercise is that Sarah is meant to tap her foot on the floor in front of her while crossing the midline. This exercise was too difficult for her, so I simplified it to just tapping the floor directly in front of her. I added that she should point her toe. When I did so, she became unable to tap the floor and instead began to curl her feet, as you can see. We started to wonder if maybe there was some type of cerebral palsy. So we took her to a neurologist and they assessed her. They said she did not have any degenerative issues. In fact, they didn't feel what she was reporting was even neurologically possible. Essentially, they said she's gifted and that, you know, it's all in her head. And take her home and create a new normal and get some emotional support in place for her. So we started grade 7. She didn't really rest and recover over the summer like she normally does. And we started off on the wrong foot, to be honest. She was exhausted from day 1. And by October, she had made a video for her friends that explained the long list of her issues and why it's so difficult for her to be in school. We assumed she was overwhelmed by being in a new place. We did not expect that the situation would decline further, but it did. And by January, she was no longer really a part of our family anymore. She was zoned out. Her fatigue was incredible. She was no longer having these good days that were so present in grade 5 and 6. Now it seemed like it was mostly just bad days. Her grade 7 report card showed that there were 146 days where she was either absent or had incomplete attendance. She really wasn't attending school anymore. She missed the majority of her education last year. She had a lot of cognitive issues by now. She could no longer remember the day of the week. It didn't matter how you prompted her. She could not get around her new school. She had an EA that would pull her from class and literally take a map of the school and teach her how to get from point A to point B. She was in a swing in the basement all day and all night. She couldn't be around people. She didn't want anyone to go down and visit her. She didn't want to talk to people. By March, I got desperate and I decided to put her on a gluten-free, dairy-free diet. And I added in some supplements, a very high-quality probiotic, something called Inulin, which is a prebiotic fiber, Magnesium Citrate, and omega-3. And I'm gonna tell you, I was hoping that she would just have more energy. And we were shocked to realize that within 2 to 3 weeks, Sarah had many issues resolved. She could hear perfectly fine. Her auditory processing disorder, this as severe as that diagnosis was, seemed to be gone. And she was just a different kid within 3 weeks. I 100% believed it was the gluten. To reward her for her hard work and her dedication, I started to let her have a bit of dairy. And I want to tell you, within 4 weeks, we started to lose all the success. And very quickly, in fact. There was one day that it was a long weekend and she got up from the table and I said, I don't think she can hear me anymore. And Cameron said, me neither. I've had to repeat myself all weekend. And the next night we were in the kitchen and I was noticing that she seemed very tired. And I remember she was at the stove and she was getting food on her plate and my husband was standing behind her with me and I was saying to him, don't you think she looks tired? She seems so tired. Again, she could not hear anything anymore. And I remember she turned around and her eyes were gone. And she was lost to me again. She was so tired and I could see it on her face. So I decided we have to take away the dairy. Obviously that was a big mistake. So we stripped away all dairy, very, very strict about it, and kind of sat back and waited for things just to improve. And they didn't. They didn't at all. And in fact, it got worse. She declined further and further. So I took her to a naturopath and she said, I know how to help you. And I thought, great. And she said, we're gonna make her go paleo. We're gonna take away every inflammatory food. Then we're going to slowly introduce these foods back. And I thought, this is brilliant. This is exactly what we need. We don't know what's bothering her. Let's get rid of everything. She also asked about our supplements. She thought they were great choices, but she suggested we remove the inulin. And this is very important, and I'll explain why later. She kept us with the probiotic, the omega-3, and took away the inulin. So we took her home, paleo, new supplements, and we expected her to just get better and better and better. And she didn't. She declined further and further, and I could not understand what was happening. And it was so frustrating. So all of a sudden, now she's bedridden again. She can't get out of bed. And she said, I think I have vertigo again. The doctor looked in her ear, and she said, it's definitely an ear infection, but it's not bad enough for an antibiotic. I'm just going to give her a steroid to reduce the inflammation. She said her ear canal is so swollen with inflammation that the liquid can't drain. And I thought, how can this kid have this kind of level of inflammation in her body when she's been paleo for a month and a half now? So I went home and I started to research. I uncovered something called S.I.B.O, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and it got my interest. And when I found S.I.B.O, I also uncovered a doctor in Phoenix named Dr. Nemechek. And he wrote a blog post in March 2017 stating how he reverses autism in kids because he believes that S.I.B.O is the core problem for these kids. So as I'm reading through, I'm shocked to realize that the way that this man improves these kids is through 3 simple things: inulin, omega-3, and omega-9. And I was doing 2 of those things. He also said that if you add in a probiotic, it makes things worse, which is exactly what we had done when we improved Sarah's health, gluten-free, dairy-free. If you remember, I was giving her probiotic, inulin, omega-3. And apparently, when I gave her the probiotic, it made S.I.B.O overgrow and made her decline even worse. When we went to the naturopath took away the inulin and kept the probiotic, hence why she declined even further. So I was all in. I believed 100% this was exactly what was going to fix Sarah, and I got rid of every single thing and followed the protocol to a T. We put Sarah on this protocol late in May, and by the end of June, I'm happy to tell you, she was a different kid. Most of her issues had already significantly improved, and now we are 5 months on the protocol, and she has literally been transformed into a different person. She has attended school every day. She has not missed 1 minute of school. She no longer has chronic digestive issues. She no longer has ADHD. She is focused. She stays on task. She does not have dysphagia. She, in fact, is not even as picky with food as she used to be. She sleeps so well. I put her to bed and she wakes up rested. She no longer has SPD, which was one of her biggest problems, but it melted away very quickly. She no longer has dyspraxia. She is playing piano. She's riding her bike. She tried out for the volleyball team. She takes a gymnastics class. Her auditory issues have completely improved. She no longer requires an FM system. Her fatigue is lifted and she has amazing amounts of energy again. She's walking home from school every day. Her headaches, stomach aches, nausea, balance issues have all resolved. And all of these issues have been resolved from one simple protocol. Everything that I've done to try and improve Sarah's health and functioning has focused solely on the brain. All of her diagnoses, they're all medically classified as brain-based disorders. I 100% believed that I had to focus on repairing her brain. It never occurred to me that I could look at her gut for the solution. So how does this benefit you? This protocol is for anybody, not just kids with autism, not just kids with developmental disorders. It's for anybody who wants better health or wants to prevent future health problems. It's a 2-pronged approach to healing. This protocol rebalances your gut's bacteria. Your bacteria sends thousands of messages to your brain and throughout your body and is responsible for far more than I ever realized. And it reduces massive inflammation in your body. That inflammation in your body is damaging your nervous system, and nervous system damage is responsible for most modern illness. I highly recommend that you look into it. It's changed Sarah's life. It's saved her life, literally. It's given us our lives and our daughter back. So thanks for watching this video. I hope that some of you look into this and research it and maybe even try it out for yourself. And if you do and you have your own great success stories, I hope you reach out to me and share them with me. And thanks for coming along with us on this journey, and I hope you enjoyed this update.